Welcome back to another video. Today we're attempting to make Fortnite from scratch with AI, and we're actually testing 3 different methods to approaching this. Fortnite is a very popular game among the younger generations, and if you remember the big Sabrina Carpenter hype recently, people actually dressed up as her on Fortnite, and they had this unspoken agreement of if you meet another person dressed as Sabrina Carpenter, you wouldn't shoot each other. So clearly what we wanted to nail down in this game was a good environment, as well as some sort of character personalization, and a good shooting mechanic against enemies or against people. So first we are going to test remixing a multiplayer template from Rosebud AI, which is a platform for making your own video game with words with no coding needed. And the reason why we're doing this is because their template actually has a really good character selection method embedded, and you can actually turn this into multiplayer immediately since it already has these game mechanics set up, and you don't actually need to ask the AI to do any of that higher technical stuff. You'll get a demo of what that looks like in just a minute, but before we jump into it, I'll tell you that we're also testing creation from scratch with 2 different agentic AI models on Rosebud. So today we're testing Claude Sonnet 4.5 as an agent and Gemini 3 Pro as an agent in creating Fortnite from scratch. So let's get started. I'll leave a link to this template in the video description so that you can try remixing it yourself and attempt creating a better environment than this. But as you can see, I've created my character, which is the protein person, and then once I entered from a different window as a different player, I could see myself and I could move around in the game as if this was a proper multiplayer game. So I just scroll down on this template and hit remix. Then I selected Claude because in my experience so far it's actually a little bit better than Gemini at complex tasks and complex projects, and I told the AI to turn this into Fortnite. I didn't really give it too much instruction because I wanted to see if it could understand the mission, and it came back to me with a couple of solutions and suddenly recreated the game. You can see the code that it was editing, which I found pretty cool because it will tell you where it's making live edits if that's part of your interest in coding. And then I had to log in again and select a new character before I could get into the game. Once I got in, I walked around a little bit and you can see that it says drop into battle, which is pretty cool, so clearly you understood the mission. But I had a bug fix that it suggested fixing automatically, and then once I clicked on it, I had this mission with different power-ups, and it turned the forest into some sort of an arena with a purple air. However, it seemed like that button that said drop into battle wouldn't disappear, so that was part of my next prompt. I also asked for the power-ups to be able to be picked up, and I also asked for some NPCs that I could fight as part of my game. So as soon as I started playing it again, you can't hear it, but there are sound effects that are actually ringing when I picked them up, and it seemed like the motion worked pretty well. So then at this point I asked for the NPCs to be come in as my enemies, since the playing field and the screen seemed a little bit better aligned to what I wanted. And I also asked for a different upgrade. This upgrade was kind of part of upgrading the playtesting flow. I didn't want to log in with a new character every single time I wanted to test the game flow. So I asked for it to be removed temporarily while I test the game, and then I told the model that I will eventually want this added back in just to make sure it doesn't erase it completely, since this is an iframe integration. And then I walked in and I had all of these NPCs coming towards me. Of course, they are playtesting blobs for now, but you can easily replace these. And if you haven't seen my video where I recreate Megabong with Gemini, that's a great video to reference for when you're looking to create like highly personalized 3D avatars and how to integrate them on Rosebud. I asked for another change, which was to add in a shooting dynamic, and suddenly the shooting seemed to work. Now of course you can make this a lot more nuanced and not just like shoot from the middle of the screen, but it seems like it worked, and after a couple of shots I could eliminate my enemies, which was pretty surprising and pretty impressive for a couple of prompts only. I was very satisfied with this multiplayer kind of game, so I explored it a little bit, but then headed over to Rosebud and I asked for the creation from scratch method, and I tried testing Gemini and Claude in creating Fortnite from scratch. Now this time I started with Gemini, sometimes I alternate, and I just gave it the simplest prompt in the world, which is make Fortnite. And after waiting a good few minutes on the model to run this, it was actually like 2 minutes, I'm exaggerating a little bit, it returned to me a pretty nice game that was ready to be improved. Now, the graphics in this are by far nowhere near to actual Fortnite. It is full of testing blobs and buildings, and there's nothing intricate about it, but I wanted to make sure that the game dynamic works well before I jump into improving the visuals. So do let me know if you'd like to see a version with improved visuals next. So it seems like I had some enemies following me around, but I couldn't actually shoot them. Clearly there was some shooting dynamic, but it didn't work well. You can see like the light tracing towards the corner of the screen. Maybe I was bad at aiming, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't the problem. So I prompted the model to fix the shooting dynamic, and suddenly I was surrounded by enemies. But at least at this point I was able to shoot them and eliminate them quickly. Now I went into building mode, which I didn't know was part of a basic Fortnite game. Clearly you can tell that this is a game that I haven't properly played. I tend to play more niche games and create them. But it was interesting because at first I got stuck into building mode and had to ask Gemini to free me from it. Now this was cool, however, and it was interesting because I realized I could easily fight off enemies. I tried asking it one last prompt, since usually the aim of these videos is to see how far I can get in just a few prompts and decide which game is worth expanding. So I asked for some special effects in the game. So I was hoping that when I eliminate an enemy, there's some sort of explosion, or maybe in build mode I start seeing things. It didn't really happen. I just kept clicking the enemies and nothing new happened. They didn't like turn to particles. Maybe I should have been more specific. Rosebud is usually really good at implementing this, but at this point I was quite satisfied with the basic shooting dynamic here. I like that I had to do multiple shots towards the enemies and stuff. So I thought this is a good part to put a pin into the project and move forward towards Claude. But of course not after just a little more playtesting. So I went back to Rosebud AI and I selected Claude Agent, which runs in Claude 4.5, but it is added with like gaming capabilities to it, and I gave it the same prompt of Make Fortnite. And guys, I don't want to jinx this, but I'm actually pretty sure that Claude won this race, simply because even the testing mode was just better in terms of graphics and dynamics than Gemini. So you can see here that from one prompt, it actually gave me a little blob to test as my main player, and it put in enemies that I could shoot. You can see that they look like creepy robots and they have health bars, which is again very, very cool to me, since the Gemini version didn't actually say anything about their health and how I could defend them. But it seems like I got stuck in the middle of the game after a couple of seconds and the whole thing froze, and it seemed like I entered build mode, but I didn't know what was going on. So I actually asked the AI to fix this problem and to give me maybe more energy, make me unstuck from build mode. And it probably is because at the top left there is some sort of a health or energy bar. This seems to run out once I move around a little bit and do a couple of shots, but I can't tell for sure where it's coming from. Maybe I'm being attacked by the enemies and the distance detection was going wrong. So I tried to prompt around this a little bit, and I also tried asking for more ammo because I ran out within a couple seconds of starting the game. So before I could even make any changes, I typed in my next prompt just to make sure I don't forget to ask for ammo. And as soon as that was implemented, I sent it away and waited for both changes to be made. Honestly, this all could have been done in one prompt. This AI agent is incredibly powerful, but I just didn't really think about it on time. And you can see me trying all of these power-ups, and they seem to work really well. I was able to get rid of a couple of my enemies and move around for much longer than initially. I also figured out that there's a couple of different colors for all the ammo and all the power-ups. So I had like a health bar, I had an ammo pickup, and I had something else that again wasn't exactly clear to me what it was. So I sent in a screenshot and I asked for some help on getting me unstuck again from the game. Now the AI said that it's likely because of a certain dynamic once I eliminate an enemy, and it tried fixing it and I gave it another run. So I moved around and I playtested the game. Again, the aim was much better than before. I was able to just click on the enemy that I wanted to eliminate, even though the graphics of shooting move around a lot. And so I ran to test all of the pickups, and it was pretty cool to see what was able to be produced. And I just love these graphics a lot more than Gemini so far. Now, whenever I wanted to test build loaded, they actually work, so that's probably a good refinement for both of these games. But I was much happier with how far I could get in Claude, except I got stuck again. Anyway, this was me trying to make Fortnite with AI in a couple of rounds, so let me know which model do you think won, what game I should make next, and whether you think I should try polish any of these versions that I made today. Thanks so much for watching.